Well, hello! What did HK just drop? Stick around, we're going to talk about it. HK just dropped the VP9A1X, or as it says on the slide, the VP9X. It's a gun that's meant for duty, but it is a crossover gun, hence the VP9X. Like the Glock 19X, you get a compact slide and a full-size grip. HK dropped this here, I believe, probably to compete with the Glock 19X, the Glock 45, and any other crossover type pistol that's out there. Except that with this, you get the HK Striker Fire system, and you get the HK Ergonomics, which are really fantastic. So this gun really bridges the gap between, duty and compact carry. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at what comes in the package. All right, so we have the pistol in here, the HK VP9X, it says on the slide there. You also get this little optic that comes on it. So this is the SCS VP9GR, which is the green. And this is a package that comes with the gun with no optic plate. So this goes on without a plate. You get this soft case here. You get the manual. You get the Holosun manuals here. You get this little pack here. Don't eat that. It's not good for you. This comes with 2 magazines. So 20 round and a 17 round magazine here. You can kind of see there. Speed loader thing, magwell block, or the chamber block. You get a steel plate, cover plate for the slide, for the optics cut. And what's really cool here is you get not only back straps, but you get side panels that are cut here for the gun. So right now I kept this in the stock configuration. Wanted to do a little bit of comparison here with its competitor gun. I did put the configuration that works best for me on this gun just to see how the ergonomics were, and they were phenomenal. Just phenomenal. Since I was doing a comparison out of the box kind of stuff with, how it comes out of the box, I did want to keep it stock. So it comes like this with the smaller back panel here, the pretty much flat grips here are grip panels on the side. So you just you slide this down. So you take out this little pin right here, and then you slide this out and slide the grips back. These just slide right out. They're real easy to take off. Everything's easy to change out on this. They give you 2 of these that kind of come up into the beaver tail here, and I'll show you those. And then you get 3 of these different size that fit in the back of your web of your hand here in your palm. You get a large one, a medium, and then a smaller one, and then of course you have the smallest one on here. So you basically have 6 options on that back strap to put on this. And then these little side panels, you get thicker ones here and some medium sized here. And then it comes with the pretty much flat ones here on the side in the configuration that it ships with. Really awesome that it does that. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the gun here. The grip here, I'm not a fan of this texture. I did have some trouble with this texture. It's not very grippy at all. And if you had sweaty hands or anything like that, it's going to be harder to hold on to this. It's kind of a harder plastic, and it's really smooth up in here. And this grip texture for me did not work out very well. I think some grip tape on this would be fantastic. Set it up for the configuration with the components that it comes with here, and then maybe some grip tape. It would be great. I think it would shoot better. As you move up here to the back, you do have a loaded chamber indicator here on the back of the striker. There's a little circle back there. If I charge this up, and I'm just gonna throw a snap cap in here. So we'll put a snap cap in. And now, I don't know if you can see that in the camera there, but there is a little red indicator back there. And also, while I have this up there, you can notice that the dot in there, it has a dot with a circle. It's like a 2 MOA dot with a 32, I believe, MOA circle. That is the brightness it comes with. We'll talk about that a little bit here in a minute. Moving up forward here, the back sights are blacked out and they are metal. So we'll go ahead and look at the front sight here as well. Front sight is also a metal blacked out. We got side serrations here. They don't look very deep, but they are very functional. Have really good grip on them here on these serrations on the side of the of the slide here. You have an ambi slide stop or slide release here. You got kind of the button drop down here on this side of the gun, and on this side you have a paddle. It's kind of interesting when you pull a trigger on this, you can kind of see that little paddle moving when you pull the trigger. That brings me to the mag release here. Works great. I do love this style of mag release. This is kind of like the Walther style as well. And I just really like this. You know, if you watch my other videos, you know, I've shot right-handed in the military for years, but I'm left-eye dominant, so now I'm kind of teaching myself to shoot left-handed and get comfortable with that, which is fun, let me tell you. When I'm holding the pistol, especially if you can't reverse the mag release on it, on the firearm, if you can't release the mag release, and it's on that left-hand side of the gun, as they typically are stock. Whenever I put my finger in here and I'm trying to get my grip, I could hit the mag release button here. I gotta be careful not to do that. On my Glocks and stuff, I reverse it, so any guns I have that I can reverse it, I reverse it. With this one, that's not an issue because you have this little, you know, mag release down here on the bottom. The trigger is like a regular striker fired trigger with the, you know, trigger safety. So like the Glocks, this does not have a manual safety. It just has the trigger trigger safety here. You've got slide release here to take the slide off, this button here. So you slide it back, pull that down. And then on the sides of the gun, you have some horizontal texture there on both sides. I think that's more for looks because when I'm holding that, it's too smooth. It doesn't do anything for me there as far as any kind of additional grip. The mag well, or I'm sorry, the trigger well here, this trigger guard has a lot of room in here. So if you're shooting with gloves, or you're in a cold environment, you're shooting with really thick gloves, this trigger guard gives you plenty of real estate to get in there with gloves on. So I do like that. The front of the trigger guard has, again, some horizontal texturing there. I don't know, it's not really grippy. It seems like you'd want a vertical texture. So if you're putting your finger up there, some people shoot like that. They put their finger up there to hold it. Then you got a Picatinny rail, pretty standard. You've got front serrations here that are also, again, are plenty grippy here to charge the slide. Already talked about the front sight being steel. But I did want to talk about the optics. So this optic, this is the, you can see how it's marked there. So it's SCS VP9. So this Holosun optic has a VP9 tagged on it. You know, it's designed for this gun and does not require an optics plate. The problem that I have with it, that I had, you know, shooting this and zeroing it and shooting it at long distance, was you cannot adjust the brightness. The brightness is an auto brightness. You get one setting where you can raise the brightness from the auto setting up just a little bit. And I'll see if you can kind of see this in here. Let me see if I can get this here so that y'all can see what happens here. Oh, there it was. Okay, so there it is now. And then if I press this button on the side here, oh, it gets a little bit brighter. And that's it. And there's the dim. And that's all you get. You can turn it off. You can go with a circle only, a dot only, or a dot and a circle. That's your option. So you do get some reticle options there. And this does have the, of course, the solar on the back, which that I do really like. If I would have bought this again, knowing what I know now, I would have just got an optics plate and got an optic that I could change the brightness on. I think I forgot to mention the old HK knobs here on the back of the slide to assist pulling that slide back. I usually pull it from the serrations, but that is there, and that is an option to help pull back that slide. The spring in this is pretty tight. I don't know what the poundage is on that thing, but it's tight. Ooh, listen to that squeak. Crazy. All right, y'all, so I did some range shooting here that you're gonna see, but first off, we're gonna talk about the accuracy. So we did a 25-yard accuracy test with 3 of the guns, and I did choose to test this, and we're gonna look at it here in a little bit, but test it against the Glock 45, or in this case, the Glock 19X Koa with a Glock 47 grip and a Glock 19X. Test the accuracy and shooting. 25-yard accuracy here. Y'all can take a look at that now. So I shot 15 rounds from each gun, and you can see there the differences, and the HK performed very well. The brightness on that Holosun optic, though, made it very difficult, and I was worried that was going to affect how the accuracy was, and it still may have. I might have been able to get an even tighter group if I could have seen the target better. It was really washing out the dot. That was a 1-inch dot on there that you see. The Glock 19X did pretty well, and the Glock 45 configuration here, that had some stringing in it, so I'll call that on me. I was having a really tough time. And the reason why I was having a tough time there is because I got new contacts, and I'm only telling you this story because it actually affects some of the shooting later. And it's the first time I've ever worn contacts, and I had a long range in my left eye, and I had a short range, like a reader, in my right eye, which was kind of messing with me with the dot, especially on the transition shooting. On top of that, since I put them in for the first time, when I was trying to put them in, they flipped over. The convex flipped over to the other side, and it kept doing that on and off as I was fighting getting these in my eye. And turns out I managed to get both of them in with the convex flipped over, and it was bugging my eyes like I had sand in my eye all day. And then my wife said that's because they were inverted and you needed to click them back over. So now I know. We went down and did a 15-yard transition drill with all three guns just to get a comparison of the VP9X and how it shot. It shot very well, but I did notice that the recoil it seemed to be more of a muzzle rise on the recoil than the Glocks. The Glocks were snappier, definitely, but they were quick to return, and the VP9 seemed a little less. It seemed like when you shot it, it recoiled more, and when I'm getting ready to hit the next shot, I either have to wait just like a split second, or it was shooting high. And what it looked like to me felt like it was shooting high there. You can look at the range footage yourself and see kind of if you can see the dust kick up behind the target. The Glock seemed to be a little more shootable in that lane, and that could be just that I'm used to them more. The grip on that gun, it was kind of hard to control. Now, I will throw this in there that I did shoot it with gloves off camera because I shot it a bunch off camera as well. And with the gloves on, I was actually able to transition better and hit targets better and control the gun better. So to me, that talks to the grip. And I'm not talking about the ergonomics on the grip. I'm talking about the grip texture itself. Seems like you got to squeeze it really too hard if you want to really control it. And I don't want to do that. I want little stronger than a firm handshake there, and then adjust from there. The texture on the grip affected it, I believe. Then we moved over to the 7-yard for control. So I shot an A-zone steel target, 7 yards, and again, I noticed that the VP9X was, it recoiled a little bit. It really felt like it anyway. You can look at the slow-mo and decide for yourself there that I had in the front of the video, but it looked like it was recoiling pretty high, and it was harder for me to control. I couldn't go as fast as I wanted to go with it. And again, I think if the grip was stickier, I think I probably could have controlled it better. The Glocks I felt comfortable with. I could really just fire quickly with those and stay in the A zone pretty well. It was definitely noticeable to me anyway. So then I went over to the 100-yard range to go shoot the VP9X to just see what that trigger is like. The trigger is really good in it for a striker fire. HK claims it's best in class. It might very well be. It is pretty good. I don't know if their claim is correct. As far as striker fired pistols, there's some pretty good triggers out there. I think I've shot some that feel a little bit better, but this one feels really good. Again, it feels like it has an FCU or a cop in an Echelon, in the Springfield Armory type trigger pull. It feels different than the Glock. Muzzle rise, it seemed like the VP9X did have more of a muzzle rise. The Glocks were snappier but seemed to drop back on target well. I think a texture fix on the VP9X would just really do it some justice, but that's pretty easy to fix with a little bit of grip tape. All right, y'all, so moving back over here, since I did do a comparison, I wanted to go ahead and show you what the triggers are like on this. The trigger did feel softer to me. Again, I did shoot the Glock 19X here, and I do have grip tape on it, and you can tell in the videos when I was shooting, I was able to really control this pretty well with that grip tape on there. It makes a huge difference to have the grip tape. I'm going to compare it here with the, we'll call it the Glock 45, because it's really like the Glock 1947, because I have a 19 Gen 5 Koa slide on this Glock 47 grip. This gun is totally stock. This is just like it came out of the box. I really do like this optic. And the reason why I chose to compare these two in particular is because they're both crossover guns. They both have optics that do not require a plate, that were a special production with the gun. So you got 2 crossover guns with an optic designed specifically for this version of the gun. And then you see here, I've got 1,000 gram brass weight here. I picked this up because I had a commenter mention that I was using the Wheeler and that it's, you know, it's a little bit off from a Lyman. So I picked up the Lyman as well. It wasn't very expensive. And I'll put a link in the comments to both of those and to the weight as well. I do like this manual one because you can adjust it. So I can calibrate it with 1,000 gram weight to make sure it's good. So it shows 1,000 grams or about 2.2 pounds here on the Lyman. And I had to, you know, adjust it here to get it to that. And it's very consistent. It really is. So thank you to that commenter for that. I appreciate it. It is pretty good. And the Wheeler actually was within 0.03 of the Lyman every time. And it was very consistent with, you know, with the calibration weight. Not very consistent on the firearms though. And the reason for that, and I'm just going to show you this time on this video, is this right here. When you're hitting striker fired guns, sometimes the striker fired with the, you know, the safety in it, the little safety bar in the middle of the trigger will get into here and it won't engage it. And then it pulls hard and it's kind of difficult. And with this plastic, you know, being set the way it is on there, I don't know if you can change that out. Maybe you can. It's got this rubber pad here. Sometimes it's kind of hard. Even with the roller on this, it's tough sometimes, but with this, it's even more difficult to get it right on. But we're going to go ahead and check that out really fast here. And we'll just do 2 or 3 pulls here per. If I get 2 solid pulls that are consistent, then we'll call it good. Since the Glock's sitting here, we'll go ahead and do that one first. And again, the Glock trigger feels harder to me than it does in the VP9X, but we're going to see what the real pulls are like here. All right, so on the Glock, I got 4 3/4 pounds there for the first pull. And I got just over 4.5 pounds on the second pull. All right, let's check out the VP9X, which feels like it has a softer trigger or a lighter trigger in it. All right, we have 4 3/4 pounds on this one as well. And we have just over the 4.5 pound line on this one. So it's interesting that both of these guns have the same, basically the same trigger pull weight. Let me move these out of the way here. Has the same trigger pull weight. For some reason, the VP9X feels a little bit softer in the when you fire it. You can see here the take up on this one. It does have a lot of take up here. And then, you know, a nice crisp wall. It's pretty nice. It's got kind of a longer reset. And then the Glock 19. Same kind of take up here. I said Glock 19, but you know, Glock 45 MOS style here set up, but take up here is also kind of long. It's got a nice wall to it, kind of a heavy wall it feels like, because it feels different than that for some reason. Reset, it's about the same. Probably, maybe even a little bit longer. I don't know, but very, very close. So the guns are very, very similar in how they function here and how the trigger pull is on these as well. Hopefully that helps you out here with taking a look at the trigger. Oh, I almost forgot here. I wanted to show you the Wheeler differences here. So I got a 5.56 and it's sliding up and it's not activating that. I'm having to go up higher on this. That's why it's not really giving me the same reading here. I don't know. So 11 pounds, 14.5 ounces. That's because it's pulling up on the trigger, so I'm having a difficult time with it here. All right, 4 pounds, 11 ounces. VP9X. 2 pounds, 11 ounces. I'm not even going to do it again, y'all. So you've got to be really, really careful if you're using one of these if you really want to know what your trigger weight is. It's not as consistent because of this. It doesn't catch this just right. And then you're pulling up higher on the trigger, and it's causing it to show more of a weight than what it is. And I can tell you that I did test this. So just to show you here. All right, we are just on the 1 kilogram line there. So this one is, I like this that I can adjust it. All right, so what do I think? I think the HK feels like it's good quality, like a lot of the HK products, although they come with a quality price. It has great ergonomics. Its accuracy is really good. The optic is something I wouldn't get. If I was you, I would probably go ahead and get the non-optic version, that comes with the optic anyways, and get your own plate and your own optic. The mag capacity is good. The trigger is good. The trigger, I think, is better than most. HK says it's best in class. I don't know about that. I've shot some other striker fires that are pretty good, but this one is actually pretty good as well. Love the mag release on this gun, and just the ergonomics, I can't say enough about them. They're really awesome. Let's talk about who this is for. A duty patrol gun is kind of what they're, going for here. And I think it's good for both. It's good for if you, for duty, carry, home defense, pretty much whatever you want. That's the whole point of a crossover, is that it can fill multiple roles, and I think this one does that pretty well. The use of gloves with this gun, with that large trigger guard there, is great. So especially, like I said, if you're in a cold environment, you need big gloves. You're definitely going to get more room on this gun. It does really well with that. The cost, if you're looking for a good value, the Glock is the one you should go with. I don't think the features on the VP9X necessarily justify the cost of that compared to buying a Glock. I could almost buy 2 Glocks for the price of this VP9X. If you're an aftermarket kind of person, you definitely want to go with the Glock. There's tons and tons and tons of aftermarket parts for this, although VP9X does come with a number of back straps, side panels, and things that you can configure that, in a way that really works for you. Functionality wise, I think the VP9X on the HK has it down really well. I do like the mag release on that. I do like the reachable controls. That's really nice. It's, I can drop the slide from my grip, and I like that a lot. So functionality, I got to give it to the HK there. Durability wise, I think they're both very durable guns. The Glock though does have years and years of testing on that, and it is an incredibly durable platform that's very simple. The platform operates very simply as well and hasn't really been changed much in many, many years until just recently when they come out with the V version, which I probably will not be buying. What it comes down to is if you're willing to spend almost double the cost of a Glock for this, that's awesome. It is a great gun. I don't know if it's worth that much more than the Glock. I think it's worth more with the ergonomics and the features it has, but double almost is a lot. Is the VP9X the new king of crossovers? I don't know. I think time will tell on that, but I think value-wise, I still think a Glock or there's other guns out there that are striker fired that fill that role that I think would do better. But it definitely belongs in the running here as, as a crossover pistol, as top choice to pick up a crossover. I do believe that this one belongs in the race here. It's definitely in the fight, and it's definitely a good one to buy if you want to throw out the extra cash, as opposed to getting something like a Glock 19X or a Glock 45 or anything else out there on the market. All right, y'all, that's all I have for today. So I would like to say thank you to my subscribers. I did reach over 1,000 subscribers. Finally got monetized, so I see some pennies, coming in. It definitely is not So if you're thinking about doing this, it does not make a lot of money. I'll tell you that. I do appreciate y'all for subscribing. Thank you so much for that, for supporting my channel. And if you have not subscribed and if you watch this all the way to the end, please consider smashing that like button and subscribe button. It helps my channel, and I do appreciate it very much. In the meantime, y'all stay safe. Y'all stay frosty, and we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.